Welcome to the Fool's Guild, where we talk about everything video games.
So
That's it for that one, I guess.
Yeah, you ready to go on to the dreaded Gen 5 now?
The dreaded Gen 5.
Yeah, did you like Gen 5?
I thought Gen 5 is probably one of the best gens.
I agree with you.
Like the second best gen.
Just as a preface, I did not like Gen 5 when it came out. I was way too hard on it because of Vanillux and Garbodor. But I went back and played them like a month or two ago, and they are very good games.
They are very good, and I think it is all because they can stand on their own, because Gen 5 introduced the most Pokemon any generation has introduced, which is 156. And you can just you could do what Pokemon Gen 1 did just like on its own, because it was an odd generation. It could just like do whatever it wanted. But plus it had much more, like Game Freak had much more control over like the DS. Like it had control over the system, because usually what happens is like when a new console comes out, they'll like create a game for it. So like Red, Blue, and Yellow and Green had the Game Boy, and they were just like doing a tech demo or whatever. They were like trying it out, and the Game Boy Color came out, and they were like, okay, we kind of got this. And they came out with like Gold and Silver, and then the Game Boy Advance came out, and they're like, okay, we have to do this whole new thing. And then Ruby Sapphire came out, but then they had a rework with like Fire Red Leaf Green. Then Gen 4 they had to make a new generation with Diamond, Pearl, Platinum. But then they had Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and then they're like, okay, like we hit a stride. And then they had a third like game series, or mainline series, which was Black White.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, they kind of mastered the DS already, so they could kind of hit their stride there, and then just include all these Pokemon and have your own world. But I agree that some of the designs are a little wishy-washy, but honestly, when people give the argument that like there's an ice cream cone Pokemon and a trash Pokemon, I like to say that there's like a dozen eggs in Gen 1. That's a design, and you're okay with that, but you're not okay with an ice cream cone.
It's like you're not seeing the forest for the trees right here.
Yeah, exactly.
And I obviously I was like 15 years old, so I was like my way or the highway on that one. It's like, oh, I can't play this game with this freaking ice cream Pokemon, man. I just can't do it. But going back and playing them, I just enjoy them. The music is so much fun to listen to. The evil team and your rival, if you can really even call them that. I like Sharon and Bianca just a little bit more because. Okay, before we get to them, let's go back to the starters again. Who's your favorite one?
I like Snivy.
Me too.
Smugleaf. I mean, like Tepig into Emboar and Oshawott into Samurott. They're just not very good aesthetically or like competitively.
Yeah, it's a firefighting type again. Like, what do I care about that?
But then you had Snivy, which was another monograss, if you can believe it, but it actually like was good because it was fast and it hit hard and had really strong moves. And then also got a hidden ability. And in this generation, we have hidden abilities, which is just crazy. But it had Contrary, so it just like can spam like its Leaf Storm.
Yeah, it's special move.
Double its special attack every turn. Just crazy.
Crazy little mon right there.
But then there are like there's a lot of good and a lot of bad Pokemon. So we have like Panseer.
Yes, Simipour, the monkey. I didn't like those at all.
I'm pretty sure Simipour is the most hated Pokemon in Japan.
Really? Because it's
I
dreads?
read that somewhere. I don't know. I don't think it's because of its dreads.
It's
because it looks dumb.
Yeah, I mean they all look dumb. I think Simisear looks the dumbest with like its big fat gut and how it like puts his hands up like this, like.
Yeah.
And then like Simipour is like, game on. We're just like waving at you the whole time. And then Pansage is like a delinquent basically, with like its pompadour. Yeah, I guess that's my favorite design out of all of them because it's the most memorable one. But they still weren't good at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they kind of complemented your like choice, but it kind of made the game easier because you're like, oh, I got a Snivy, so my rival got like a Tepig, but then somebody's like, oh, here's a Panpour, so you can beat the Tepig. I'm like, I don't need this.
Yeah,
that's kind of awful.
I was like, imagine like my character's like. They're like handing it to you, and your Panpour is like Panpour, and I'm like, If you just toss it over my shoulder, like I don't want this.
Like there's 156 Pokemon in this gen. You don't think I could find a better
You
water
think-
type?
You
Like,
don't think I could find a single water type? Get out of my face! I'll go catch a Magikarp for like the 15th time and evolve into
you know,
Gyarados.
go find a Basculin. It's probably way better.
Yeah, or just anything like an Electros. I like Electros.
You
I
know,
think
that's
that-
cool.
I think that was one of my favorite ones for this generation actually.
Yeah, I would say that, but I feel like I have a lot of favorite ones.
For this generation, yeah.
Like we have Ferrothorn, we have Bisharp.
Yeah, Bisharp is a lot
a
cooler than I thought it
dragon.
would be.
Yeah.
A dragon, yeah. The
Chandelure, Jellicent. Like there's a lot of
a
them.
lot of good Pokemon in this generation.
There's
The
a lot.
way more that it I want to say it outweighs the bad actually.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Volcarona, finally a
Excadrill.
good bug type Pokemon. After
Yeah,
all this
that's
time.
one of the three, and the other one is Genesect.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Cofagrigus.
Calvarigus was okay, pretty good.
Yeah.
Sigilyph is surprisingly really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like Crocodile is good.
Yes, Crocodile.
Even like Crustle is
Mhm.
like not a bad bug Pokemon.
That's true. Trying to think about like I feel like what's her name? The electric gym leader.
Elisa.
Elisa, I feel like she should have an Electros on her team. Because she had
No, it was too early for that.
Nah, that's fair, I guess. I mean, it does have a lot of coverage because it's a electric type that can do fire moves, ground moves, and like something else. It was competitively viable, so that's why, like, yeah.
Yeah, and it's also the only Pokemon without a weakness.
Really?
Because it has Levitate.
Ah.
And Ground would be its only weakness.
Well, that's
But it would be weak to like a Mold Breaker,
mhm.
Excadrill.
That's cool.
It's a fun fact.
Mm-hmm.
Even like Click Claim was cool, just
Mhm.
like a gear Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hidden abilities really spiced up the meta because
Mhm.
you had these Pokemon that were just kind of bad, and then they ended up being really good.
Mhm.
So you even like Pokemon like Blaziken, who was already good, could learn Speed Boost with its hidden ability, and it was just popping off.
Yeah.
But you could get those through the Dream World, and you could do that through like your friends or with friend codes, or you could do it like on the internet. Like you could go on to like Dream World, like Pokemon.com/Dream World or whatever,
Mhm.
like send your Pokemon there and like get Pokemon from the internet. Like, I thought that was pretty cool.
I had this generation also introduced Zoroark. Yeah.
'Cause I think that was like the mascot. Like if Lucario was the mascot for Gen 4, then like Zoroark was supposed to be for this.
The
But
biggie of this one, yeah, because it was
Sucked.
the only non-pseudo or non-legendary Pokemon to get its own movie named after it. I think it was Zoroark and something, but in Genesect, it was a Genesect movie. Yeah, they doubled up with each other. Yeah. And then this is also a generation that has a ton of legendary Pokemon, but before we get to them, I'd like to talk about Team Plasma. How do you feel about them?
I honestly thought there were like too many uncles.
Too many uncles?
Yeah, like N had too many like father figures.
Oh,
like
yeah.
they were just like 8 old men,
Yeah.
and they were all like, "Oh, I'm Sage," you know.
Mhm.
Sage gets this.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, okay. It's like I think I've met enough of you now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and you explore that more. Did you play Black 2, White 2?
Yes.
Yeah, so you explore that more, and then after like N is gone, but yeah.
Yeah.
I thought Team Plasma was actually probably one of my favorite
Mhm.
like enemy teams.
Yeah, I feel like they're up there with Team Rocket for me because they really fit the evil team mold. 1, because they're taking people's Pokemon. 2, because they're a bunch of hypocrites.
Yeah.
And then 3, because they actually have the means to carry out their plan.
Mhm.
When you're like going through the castle, like there's a bunch of scientists running around like, we finally broke into the PC system, we can take people's Pokemon. I'm like, oh, I gotta like shuffle down the hall really quickly to go meet in before they start taking my stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. And then they had the Shadow Triad too.
Yeah.
It just felt like everything was covered in the organization basically.
Mm-hmm.
And Getsis is a very good team like leader because he's essentially pushed into the front to make him be like, focus on this guy while he does a bunch of shady, just absolutely awful stuff in the background. He's like, I'm gonna groom this kid who hates Pokemon just so I can take over this region. And then at the end of the game, because if you really pay attention with the way that he has his team set up, he has this entire team ready just to counter in so he can take the legendary Pokemon away from him. It's just the most sinister and evil thing that I could think of. Like, build up this person who's supposed to be your kid just so you can take stuff from him. Like,
Yeah.
can you get even more low. And then he gets worse in Black 2 and White 2, believe it or not. It's just he's just such a scumbag. Like compared to him, like Giovanni's like, because Giovanni after you beat him was like, I'm just gonna retire. It's leave. Guess this keeps going even after you beat him. Oh, gosh, just so unlikable. Like very good to beat.
And even the lore, I feel like, is much more compelling in terms of like the great dragon or whatever that fell from the sky in a meteor.
Yeah, like the origin dragon that makes up Kyurem, Reshiram, and Zekrom, which we will never ever find out about.
Unless they'll probably remake Gen 5. Hopefully, okay. What they did with Gen 4 is like despicable in my opinion.
Yes,
the remake.
The chibi models.
Well, I mean, it's always been chibi.
Okay, but like, have you seen the actual like screenshots for him? Like Cyrus looks so like he's supposed to be a stern-looking character. He looks so unbelievably stupid.
I know, and that's probably part of it. The reason like they just remade it like pixel for pixel. But like what I wanted to say was like a lot of like the gameplay elements and mechanics are just like old now.
Yeah.
And then like even I would have even liked to have seen like a Let's Go version of like Diamond and Pearl.
Yeah, just something different.
If it meant like seeing things in a new way or like having a different story, because like in Let's Go, like Red and Blue exist.
Yeah.
Like they're like older and they exist within the world, but like you're just like a little kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like just doing a remake is just I think just incredibly lazy. And I wish they would like either explore more deeper into the story or something else. But yeah, in like when they remake Gen 5. I would like to see that. I would like to see the Origin Dragon. Even like it's like, oh, you'll never see the Origin Dragon because it's like it's not stable enough, or like the body can't handle it, or
I was at least thinking how they have old like monument walls like in all the games to the legendary Pokemon. Just like some little graphics, something like just kind of tossed together a little bit. Because like we just quick transition back to Gen 4 and wherever Team Galactic has their base at, if you go to the top of the hill, there's a statue of the creator of the Sinnoh region, and it's like an amalgamation of Palkia and Dialga. So at least that's something there to get your brain thinking about like, oh, who am I going to run in? What Pokemon are you going to run into? Maybe there is one that kind of looks like a fusion, which is kind of like Arceus or whatever. Yeah. But it really gets you thinking and wants to push you forward to explore the game.
There's more lore than you think.
Yes.
Than just like, oh, there's a dragon and a whale, and they like to fight because they want land or sea.
Yeah.
But more on Gen 5, just there's so many Pokemon.
Yeah.
They're also like, I'm not gonna say they're all so good, but they're like a lot of them are very, very good.
Yeah, but I like the P-Dove line was pretty lame. Yeah.
Okay, but that's probably because you like Starly. Because you're a fan of Starly.
I don't like Starly. I mean, I like Starly.
Then what's the problem? Because I feel like all the birds are going to be awful.
No.
Toucanon.
Fletchinder.
Pidgeot.
Pidgeot's good.
Pidgeot's kind of trash. Swellow.
Swellow's pretty garbage, yeah.
Hoot. Noctowl.
Hoot. No. When we get to Gen 7,
Toucanon.
No, 8. Gen 8.
Gen 8 Corviknight. Yeah.
Corviknight's
my favorite Pokemon.
Fantastic. Love it.
But that's not a normal flying Pokemon like all the rest of them are.
Okay, that's fair.
And neither is Talonflame.
Yeah, it's the flying fire. Yeah. Right, we'll get to them in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
The legendaries.
The legendaries.
There's so many.
They all because it's such a testament to how good this game is. They also wrap into the lore and everything.
All of them do.
Yeah, I feel like because I played white version or black version, whichever one Reshiram is in. I feel black. I feel like it is very good thematically that N has Zekrom with him because his whole thing is that people should be separated from Pokemon because that's my personal ideal. I feel like if Reshiram was with him, he'd have an even bigger ego boost and it wouldn't feel right to fight him basically. Because Reshiram is supposed to be the Pokemon that represents truth, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, it doesn't feel right to like fight against the guy who's like, his representative is the Pokemon that's supposed to establish truth. And like, your character is supposed to be the person that is like, people in Pokemon should be together, obviously.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the way that the world should be. It's like, that feels like a stronger truth to the whole theme of what Pokemon is, essentially.
Okay. Yeah. You're saying the roles would be reversed.
Yeah, and it wouldn't make much sense.
He would be like, oh, I have the truth Pokemon, so this is my truth.
Yeah.
Like, it's right.
Yeah, like,
control it.
There's no way that he can be wrong, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as opposed to that, because the entire game is like, I believe this should be happening.
Yeah.
If there was like some dialogue changes, like in the two games, like in truth, blah, or like he has Zekrom and white versions, like, I believe blank. Yeah, it feels like he's fighting much more for an ideal as opposed to this is the way that things should be.
Him being like, yeah,
he's not as rigid.
Corrupted by his own mind.
Yeah. Even though slowly over the course of the game, he does slowly begin to turn more towards people and Pokemon should be separated. But so many times he's shown to be struggling with that. And somebody who had an established truth within them, I feel like they wouldn't be shaken as much as In is, because he's like kind of wishy-washy the whole time when he's like gets on the Ferris wheel with your character or whatever, and like you're having like your little dig or whatever. He's like, where he just reveals to you like, hey, I'm the leader of Team Plasma.
Like a corn dog in his mouth. He's like, yeah.
Just sitting on the other side of the car, just like swinging his leg a little bit, like sipping like an icy or something. And your characters are like, I'm in danger. There's a terrorist with me.
He's like, can we fight here or?
It's like, nah, we'll fight once we get to the bottom.
No, I don't have any Pokemon.
It's like, oh hey, look, my friends are waiting for me down there. Those are Team Plasma people. Yeah, exactly. He's just so and so you get to Skyla's gym, he's just so nonchalant about everything, which makes it really fun. Yeah. I feel like In's more of your rival than Sharon and Bianca are. They're definitely your friends. Because he kind of gets corrupted by Getsus a little bit, it feels like you're trying to save somebody who you really care about. Because at the beginning of your relationship, he's, again, really goofy and kind of fun because of just how eccentric he is.
Just whimsical.
Mm-hmm.
But then, it's like a Nagito.
Mm-hmm. Danganronpa episode coming eventually.
Yeah, soon.
But yeah, once you get to the end of the game, it feels like you're trying to save somebody
who's been lost.
Yeah,
and sauce.
Yeah, and again, lost in sauce. But like also, you're like two sides of the same coin, going back to the whole truth and ideals thing.
They're like foils.
Mm-hmm. It's like, I understand you, and I have to beat you because if you keep going down this path, it's going to be very bad for you. Which is truth, because Getsus is like, oh, I'm going to steal your Pokemon from you, baby boy. Just can't. Just rubbing his hands together.
I'm gonna have to replay White because I have White and I want to see what he says because I completely missed that.
Yeah,
I just spam through the lore.
Yeah, when you're about to go into the chamber to fight In for the final time, and you have like Zekrom or Reshiram with you, he's just waiting outside the door. Like with the typical Pokemon knowledge, you're thinking like he's the actual leader, so I should be actually fighting him. Mm-hmm. But as you're walking in there, you kind of like have a little stare down with him. He like stops you for a second. It's like, go fight In, see if you have the strength to really become a hero. And the whole situation just feels so off.
Weird.
It's like, what is this guy planning? It's like, oh, I just don't like him at all. Yeah.
Evil Vizier.
Mm-hmm. And I guess we can talk about Black 2, White 2, because a good chunk of the changes kind of come in there, and then Team Plasma continues on. Like 2 years later, you get Hugh, Bianca, and Sharon all grown up now.
Hugh's my favorite rival, just because he's just a friend.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
And he like fights with you. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think any other rival does that, except maybe Barry one time.
Yeah.
But like, I like being able to see the guy and just be his friend, because he's like a rival at that point. He's not like I want to beat you. Like, it's not like you're like trying to bring each other up by defeating each other. It's like, I'm like actually your friend, and I like want to see you succeed.
Yeah. And he's also kind of on his own journey the whole time too.
Yeah.
He's singularly, like, he's doing the gym challenge so he can fight stronger people, but he's also like, I need to find like the remnants of Team Plasma, just take them down basically so I can get back my sister's Purloin. It's like, even though Purloin's like a crappy Pokemon, it's still very sweet to see him do that. He definitely has his own story going on.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's like a character.
Mm-hmm.
And Purloin is kind of nightmare fuel when you realize it can stand up on its hind legs.
Dude, yeah, that Pokemon. Like, why aren't you walking around like a Meowth right now? Yeah.
But
yeah.
Not much else to say about Black 2, White 2.
Black 2, White 2. Yeah, I just want to talk about Getsus some more. I hate him so much. I just hate Getsus so much.
He's pure evil.
Yeah, he's just so irredeemable. He uses even
That's why I like him.
Yeah.
That's why I like the plasma.
Yeah, even Giovanni cared about his admins. It's like if you play like going back to Heart Gold Soul Silver during the special episode, like where you get the Celebi event,
Yeah.
it shows that he was gonna go back and try to talk them out of like taking over. He's like, guys, you gotta stop it. You gotta chill out. It's like you're all gonna go to jail, basically. Like that shows that he really cared, but Getsus only used everybody around him just so he could prop himself up. Use his son, use his adoptive daughters, use Team Plasma, used everybody there, used all the sages, and then he also gets one of his arms cut off too when like during the time skip, and apparently because there's been a lot of theories that the way that he trained his Hydreigon, because it's too low level to actually evolve, that people conclude that it like ripped off one of his arms or whatever. It's like
I read that,
yeah. He just kind of deserves it by that point for just being such an irredeemable piece of garbage.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Then what about for the lore aspect? Aside from Reshiram and Zekrom, they had.
I think he just completed it more. Because I don't think we really saw the picture of like, oh, there's this origin dragon, but now we got to like live it.
Then like Kirim showed up, and it's like you kind of sort of get to the fuller form of it.
Yeah. Get a little closer.
And then as for more legendary Pokemon, you had the Swords of Justice. They were pretty lame. Yeah.
Really?
I like Terrakion. That's about it.
I like Terrakion. I like Keldeo. Keldeo is probably my favorite fighting type Pokemon.
Its Resolute form is kind of cool, but I think what ruined it for me was the Kyurem movie. I tried watching that, and Keldeo's whole deal was that he wants to become a true hero, so he's going to try to go kill Kyurem, who's just hanging out by itself. And I was like, what's wrong with you?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I couldn't get behind it. Yeah.
Well, now I don't like him either.
Good. But all right, anything else for Gen 5?
We had the Weather Trio, or the...
Oh, yeah.
Is it called the Weather Trio?
I don't...
Tornadoes.
The Genie Trio.
Or Genie.
Something like that, yeah.
Or Incarnate. I love the Therian forms. Because those were introduced.
They're their Djinn forms are what they're called, because they're like kind of like, like Aladdin.
No, they're called Incarnate forms and Therian forms.
What? Therian forms? Are you kidding me?
Therian form is like the lion, the bird, and the whatever the cat one is. Tiger. Yeah. And then incarnate form is
their human forms. Yeah, their human forms look really stupid. Their forms look a lot cooler.
Yeah, I agree. They're a lot more useful because they have different abilities and attacks.
Yes.
Volcarona. Crazy Pokemon.
Yeah, it's really ugly, but I don't know why I like it so much.
Because it's just really good.
Yeah, I guess so.
We had Genesect. We had Meloetta, which is awful.
It was just there.
Yeah, it existed. Was there anything else?
Nope. I feel like the biggest selling point was just going around and fighting an evil team again. It felt good.
I liked how they changed up. Like in one version, there was like Drayden, and the other there was Iris.
Oh yeah,
and then they had like different cities, like the White Forest and the Black City.
Yeah, where you won in the Black Forest. Or was it the White Forest? I want to say it was White Forest.
White Forest.
In White Forest, you went to go catch Pokemon, as opposed to Black City. It's like, oh, you can get all these HMs, TMs, all the balls here. Yeah. And then I also liked how, because we're talking about how you had to fight the evil teams at the end of the game, because whoever you were fighting against, like say N, you just went in and swept all the Elite Four.
Yeah.
And then, but when you're about to go up and fight them, they're like all talking about N basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, oh man, like the poet ghost type, she was like writing a whole poem about N and like getting ready to like write a story about him. Yeah. And then Caitlin was like, who's waking me up this time? And then what was his name? Marshall was like, another strong challenger to fight me. And then when you get to Alder, he's like, please don't separate people from Pokemon. Like, and Ian's like, I beat you. You have no reason to talk to me. You're trash. Yeah, and then you had to go back and fight the Elite Four to actually become the champion. It really spiced up everything. And it made the story feel more complete.
Yeah, definitely like Gen 5's story. Like, it was just, it was way better than anything else they've ever done, unfortunately.
Yeah. And again, everybody, including me, hated on the game during the time. So it's like, oh, okay, we aren't going to mess with the whole schedule of how we do things anymore. And so we kind of took up many steps back, and then we haven't gone this way. We've gone.
In retrospect, we see now that we have been dealing with some of the worst Pokemon games that have ever been made, we're like, oh, that actually wasn't that bad.
Yeah, no, this is a hidden gem, if anything. I'm sorry I treated you so badly.
And there's so many like YouTube videos, compilations of Gen 5 music. It's like when Gen 5 music hits different.
Yeah.
And then all these like Zoomers are like, bro, I love Gen 5. I grew up with Gen 5. I'm
I
like,
grew up with Gen 5.
I'm sorry, but at the same time, I like
when In's theme drops. Yeah, good times.
it's like when you're in that one city, like Lumio City or Navarre, that might have been a different city. But there's like one city where it like everyone loves that song.
Yeah. I want to say it was the Elsa's city or something. Yeah.
Yeah, not Lumios. What is it called? Nimbasa.
Nimbasa, yeah. Nimbasa was very vibrant. Everything was there. They had the Ferris wheel. They had the
sports complex.
They also had the Battle Subway there.
Battle Subway. And then in B2W2 they had the PokeStar Studios where you could be in a movie.
Yeah.
That was cool. Yeah, that game was really, really good.
Yeah.
They also had what was I gonna say? I forget.
What did you think about the gym leaders?
I thought the gym leaders were really good. The designs, I really like the designs. So we had who did we have first?
The brothers.
Oh yeah, the Striation City. Because Black and White 2 had different gym leaders.
Yes,
you
for
had
the first
Sharon. Yeah, you had Sharon first, and then you had Roxy. But then in the original you had like Silent, Chili, and Cress. Then you had Lenora, I think, was second. And then Berg was third.
Berg was third for both of them, yeah.
And then Elisa was fourth.
Yeah.
And then Clay,
Skyla. Then 7 was Bryce. Then 8 was either Drayden or Iris, and the last one, like the Surfer Bro, for the Black 2, White 2.
Oh yeah, Marlon. Yeah.
I like Marlon. Marlon was kind of there. I liked Iris and
It's like a worse Juan.
Yeah, felt very anticlimactic for. After coming off of Black and White, it was like, oh man, I'm gonna go fight the Dragon type gym leader, but Iris has ascended to champion now. So yeah, good for her, but still, Marlon wasn't a very good cap off to my gym leader journey.
That gym, the Dragon gym in Gen 5 is super cool. Like the design.
Yeah, the way that the Dragon heads move around, like their wings also like create platforms for you. Very cool, very cool.
That's another thing Gen 5 did, is it had Gen 4 also had like cool like 3D interactions.
Yeah,
like
but Gen 5 really pushed into it.
Yeah, they really hit the nail on the coffin right there.
Yeah, I want to say in Berg's gym, I like this whole like cocoon aspect that helps you move around and everything, as opposed to like in regular Black and White where you had to move through honeycombs. They were like, okay, we got to make this a little bit more memorable and everything.
Exactly.
Yes.
And then Roxy's gym was kind of stupid because it was like she can't hear you because she's playing music too loud, so you have to fight everyone else so that they stop playing their instruments. And I was like, it's kind of dumb.
I was like, yeah, they could have done something a little bit better. She's a poison gym leader. They could have done something better here. Whatever.
But that's all I got.
Yeah, that's it for me.
I'm gonna do Gen 6 and call it a day.
Gen 6, oh boy. Mega Evolution's coming in with
Gen
the
6
Digimon digital monsters.
Generation. Add me.
Yeah.
Don't add me.
Don't add me. Yeah.
It was the best.
This is a very interesting generation. Had everything you could want in a game, but you know what I didn't like? How many free Pokemon you got. You got too many free Pokemon. You got your starter, you got that Adventure chick, you get another starter. So that's 3 Pokemon right there.
Starters.
You get a Lucario once you get to, what's her face's gym? Karina's gym, so that's the 4th one right there. Yeah, that you get the legendary, so that's 5, and then like you just have
multiple legendaries.
You get multiple legendaries, then you just have one more Pokemon to fill out your team. But by that point, it's like, why would I do that? I've got Greninja, I've got Blaziken, I've got Venusaur, then I've got a Lucario, then I've got a legendary Pokemon. I guess I'll get a pseudo-legendary just to fill out my entire team. Where's T-Tar at? Where's Salamence at? Where's Garchomp at? I'll use one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Gen 6 had the least amount of Pokemon.
I think it only had like 50 or 70.
56 to 76.
I want to say like in that range.
Something 6. But yeah, they had just like, they introduced a lot of fairy Pokemon. like Sylveon, they had Dedenne, they had
They gave
Carping.
Gardevoir,
They gave a lot of Pokemon like Clefable, Wigglytuff, the Fairy type.
which I feel like was a smart thing to do.
Definitely.
Give them some more flavor.
Rebalance some Pokemon.
Mhm.
But yeah, there weren't a lot of Pokemon, and the Pokemon that were there weren't very good. But I'm glad
Like
they added.
Heliolisk.
Yeah, like Heliolisk, Avalugg, Gorgeist, Phantom, or Trevenant.
Gudra was a good addition,
Gudra.
though.
Gudra was alright.
Out of all the pseudo legendaries, it's definitely the weakest, but I feel like out of all the Pokemon that were added, it was a good addition.
Yeah, it was. I don't think it was a bad design. Some people hate that Pokemon.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it wasn't bad.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. Yeah.
But they had like Dragalge, Malamar, like which were cool. Like they had cool
Yeah,
designs.
Noivern,
Noivern,
Clauncher,
Klotzer,
mm-hmm.
Esper,
Mm-hmm.
Meowstic.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Pokemon weren't very like
inspired.
yeah, they weren't very like cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like they did have Talonflame, they did have Aegislash,
Mm-hmm.
but like, those were just completely broken.
Yeah,
But they were super cool designs.
yeah, they're the two staples.
Yeah, but then everything else was just kind of like, what am I doing here?
Yeah. What I would have to say about the game is this is our first introduction to actually being able to customize your character.
Yep.
So you can feel like more personalized and connected to it. And everybody was always calling your character by your name, so you always feel like you're involved with the story, which I feel like is a good thing.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
They also really segmented the Pokedex, so there's like different regions, like the mountain region, the sea region. There was like ways to feed your Pokemon and interact with them in different ways.
Yeah.
You can EV, like train Pokemon. You can Wonder Trade Pokemon.
Yeah. But I just want to talk about the whole aspect of feeding your Pokemon things. I feel like that was what they were trying to push for the whole time, like going all the way back to Gen 1, where it's like, you really care about your Pokemon. It's like, yep, I'm brushing my Greninja right now. It shows how much I love it. You get a few more additions with it, like you're about to get hit with a super effective move, and then your Pokemon gets like the little heart above. It's like, oh, Greninja like dodged Solar Beam in time with your shout. I'm like, okay, finally, it's something cool is happening. I feel more involved with this game.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I wish they kept doing that with the later installments, because I think the only Pokemon that really has like any lasting benefit is Sylveon, because you need to evolve Sylveon by getting like a max like heart rating in Pokemon Me,
Yeah.
what it's called.
Yeah.
But yeah, I spend most of my time with super training.
Yeah, me too.
Just because I'm like, you get these EVs.
Mm-hmm. It was also like a little thing you did in your spare time. You're like going to like the next city or something. You just like tap on it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the whole, it was very. I want to say it goes back to Heart Gold and Soul Silver a little bit when you were doing like Pokeathlon a little bit. Like that's just a fun little mini game to do when you're on your way somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then this was before Z moves, so Mega Evolution was supposed to be the maximum way you could show your affection towards your Pokemon.
It shows the ultimate bond between a trainer and their Pokemon.
But yeah, we'll get to that next episode, but still, yeah.
But I thought the Mega Evolution designs, like in Gen 6.0, were all very, very good.
Yeah. My only thing is I think they should have given it to lesser cared about Pokemon, though.
I totally agree. I definitely think that people got more hype for Mega Charizard just because like it's Charizard, right?
And also it had two forms.
Yeah, but I honestly don't think that like if you gave another Pokemon like Venomoth a Mega Evolution over Charizard, like it wouldn't fly.
Yeah.
You know?
But I feel that.
I definitely wanted to see. Did you hear that they didn't do a Mega Flygon design because they couldn't decide on the design?
No, that's messed up.
That is messed up.
Because everyone
wanted Flygon.
I love
Mega.
Flygon so much.
And they're like, well, we didn't do it because we couldn't settle on
It's like
one design.
It was like we got like 10 designs on this wall. We just pick one, and it's like we can't pick.
And we're not going to show any of them to you.
And they're gonna stay in the Pokemon. Like, you know how Disney has like their vault things, they just won't show anybody the exact same situation here.
Like, we're never going to do it anymore, so it doesn't even matter. Like, you are bastards.
And then like one of the Pokemon producers just like goes home, it's like opens up, it's like safe. He's like, oh, Mega Flygon.
It's like, you'll be mine.
One day I will convince them to bring back a Mega Evolution some way, somehow. Probably not though.
Yeah, but I like that because you could have multiple Pokemon that you could think has like a Mega Evolution, but like doesn't. So you could put like Absol on a team, and Absol's just like terrible Pokemon.
Yeah.
Without like its Mega Evolution, but yeah, a lot of the Pokemon were definitely better with. But there are some where like Garchomp or Tyranitar, they definitely did not need.
They did not. As much as I like Garchomp, they did not need the Mega Evolution.
Tyranitar,
Yeah,
it's useless.
Tyranitar doesn't need it. The design could have been a little bit more tuned for Tyranitar in particular.
I also think for Garchomp.
Yeah, like it's Saipans.
It's just barely anything more.
And then Abomasnow, of all Pokemon, getting a Mega Evolution.
Yeah. I
Like,
mean,
it doesn't fix its 4 times weakness to fire and everything else in existence.
It did make it slightly better. And it only made it better though after it didn't matter. So like at the end of Gen 7 or in Gen 7 when it got Aurora Veil, like it was good, but then you can't use it anymore.
Yeah.
Like now that we've removed Mega Evolutions from the game. Yeah, but there were a lot of really solid Mega Evolutions.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this is also the generation where the only gym leader that I can remember is Clarence. Everybody else is just
Who's Clarence?
The electric gym leader in Mimeo City. Clavant? That's his
Clavant?
name? I thought it was Clarence. Oh gosh, I
Clarence.
forgot him too.
They're all French.
Yeah, my bad. But every gym leader in that gym is just a blur. I don't remember them at all. I remember like the one that had like the really big eyes and like the lady who was like a fairy type gym. No, she was a psychic gym leader. She was like number 8.
That's Olympia. There's Wolfric.
Oh, I remember
There's
Wolfric.
Valerie.
Isn't there like old man too, grass type?
There's Ramos. Clement. And there's 3 more. There's a bug one. He was like a photographer. I think Olivia maybe. No, Olivia's like one of the black girls from Gen 7. There's a blonde bug photographer.
Yep. Wait 1 second.
Violet maybe.
What's the name of that region?
Kalos.
Kalos.
There's the bug one. There's I don't even remember the first ones though.
Yeah, they're very forgettable.
Oh, Karina.
Karina. Yeah.
And there's one more.
Thanks for my free Lucario. Okay, yep, Viola. There's a rock type who's named Grant.
That's it.
Then Karina, Ramos, then Clement, then Valerie, then Olympia, then Wolfric.
Yes, that's it. I got most of them.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, that's kind of a...
And then their Elite Four isn't much freaking better. We got Malva, Seabold, Wickstrom,
Seabold,
and Drosna. Yeah. Then Diantha, the worst champion ever. Absolute pushover.
Hey, don't you say bad things about my Diantha.
Oh my gosh.
No, yeah, she was super easy. I remember, like, I got so bored, and there's no end game.
Nothing at all. You have the Battle Mason. That's about it.
But then I hated that. Like, I hated running that, so I just ran the Elite Four over and over. Because I found, and honestly, this is why I like Gen 6 the most, because there was no end game, so you didn't have to, like, do all this weird, like EV trading and stuff for your end game. What you could do is actually fill out your Pokedex, because for the first time ever, you had access to like every Pokemon.
Yes.
And so you could wonder trade, you could like trade online with people, you could find Pokemon within the different regions, because like with ORAS and X and Y, you could have every Pokemon. And so like I made that my goal to like do that and like actually catch all the Pokemon, because I've never done that. And there was like 700 something Pokemon.
Yeah, I did the exact same thing.
And
so you get the shiny charm and everything.
Yeah.
It was very fun time.
Yeah, it was like, it wasn't that bad because like I didn't have something stopping me from doing it. And I was just like, okay, I'm just going to do it.
Yes. And
yeah, so running the Elite Four was good because it was so easy. I could get like 20 something levels on all my Pokemon like that. So honestly, not a bad trade-off.
Yeah.